Welcome to another edition of the Crochet Crowd with your host Michael Selleck. Well, today we have the Patterns pattern, and these are applique flowers that go onto different materials. So you could do it a dress, you could do it a blanket, whatever. So they actually have a large and a small version, and what we're going to do is we're going to actually try that, and I've done it and it's really great. But what I'm going to do at the end of this tutorial, here they are here, is that we're going to push our creativity even further, and I'm going to show you how to make these bad boys really three-dimensional. So this is your large and this is your small. So I'm just going to put it in my hand so you can determine what size that you want to do. So I used a size G hook. It says to use an F, but I don't have an F on stock, so I have my size G. And of course we're going to use the Peyton's yarns today in order to make this work. So let's get started, and this is a really quick, easy tutorial. You're going to love it. The results are just absolutely fabulous, as you can see. So, and there's the back of it there, so if you want to take a look at that. Okay, so let's get started on this fabulous pattern. Okay, so we're going to start off with the small flower first, just like you see there. And what we're going to do now is just create a slip knot on your hands, and you can see other videos on how to do that much slower. So just create your slip knot and put your size G or F hook that you want to do. Put it onto your hook, but don't like pull it, like jam it really tough. So it's saying now to chain 6, so that does not count as one. So let's grab and pull through. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, and now what we want to do is to form a ring. So what we need to do is just slip in your hook to the very first chain that you had. I pull it down to cause it to do a U shape, and when you pull it down you can actually use your nasty finger and your thumb to hold the center open. So just grabbing the material and pulling it through both, and now that your nasty finger and your thumb basically now that's your center point of your particular flower. So let's move on to your next step. Okay, so we just slip stitch. We're now ready to move on to your next level, and this kind of level actually confused me when I was doing this pattern, so let's work through it together slowly. So it's asking us to chain 1, okay, and the chaining of 1 really doesn't have much to do with anything other than just building it up. And now it's going to single crochet into the center of the ring, and so you want to put your straggler on the top of your ring area, and basically every time you go around and crochet around it, you're going to secure it. So we need to do 2 single crochets in a row. That was 1. And this is the second, and the reason for it is that there's actually 3 single crochets in between each one of these petals, but because this is our starting round, we're only doing 2, because when we come around and we do the final one, when we come all the way around, we're actually going to put 1 single crochet and then slip stitch. So probably regular crocheters would understand what I've just said. So let's now chain 4, and chaining of the 4 is now the foundation of the petal. Okay, so basically once you've done that, come back into the center of the ring and single crochet. So that is the single crochet. So out of the 3, this is the one that's going to secure this petal. The next one, the second one, is just the one right in the middle, and now the third one, okay, is going to be the one that launches the next petal going all the way around. So now let's chain up 4 again. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and coming back into the center. And so we want to continue to do that until we get 6 petals on our ring, right? So it's 2, and this is 3. Okay, now I think that I've gone all around enough for the straggler to not pay attention to it anymore, so I'm just going to let it slip in behind, and I'm going to trim that afterwards. So let's begin to chain up again 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and so I just kind of put the straggler back into the ring area, but again, if it was you, you could have just trimmed it at that point. I just don't want to waste any more video time. And so that was your 3, so let's go up again. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and coming back into the center of the ring. Now your center of the ring may not be as big as what you see here, and the reason for it is that I had an outtake, so that I had to pull everything apart. Daniel was calling my name in the middle of the tutorial. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically, because we are going into the center of the ring, we can just shift everything. So just kind of pull it back. Okay, and don't worry about anything overlapping when you do that. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this will be the 5th petal. And again, let's put our 3 in the middle. On the very first time, the one that you're seeing in the background, I actually forgot in the last 2 to do that chaining of, or the single crocheting of 3, which caused problems afterwards. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and this is the final. So this is the 6th one because you want 6 petals. And now that I just single crocheted that instinctively just to hold it, but that is the final single crochet in between this. So basically this here, you just need to slip stitch it to the very first one that you did, the very first single crochet, slip stitch it, and just for fun, even though the pattern is not calling for a color change, do a color change. It really will make your work really quite interesting. You don't have to, but you know, it's your call. And basically you just want to just wrap this around a couple of the areas, and especially you want to come up into the just wrapping it around one of the petal areas up here, because when we do our next color all the way around this area, it's going to trap that so tight in position you'll never see the end or the start of that. And so now that you've got that done, is that you can continue to adjust this, and can obviously adjust it even when you're doing your secondary color. So grab your next color and we'll get started on doing the interior of these things. So we actually have 2 more lines to go. We have the interior color and then the final. So let's get our next color ready, and I just usually do a slip knot anyway onto my hook. So if you didn't want to change color, you don't have to, you just continue. And in the pattern, if you did not change color, you just got to slip stitch your way all the way to the first loop. So this is where we've kind of finished. It does look kind of weird now, but it will look fine later. It's just slip in your hook anywhere but where you started, so when you come around to that area, it's just going to naturally blend. So just stick your hook through one of the petals, pull both material around through the back, and pull it through and through. Okay, and count that as one of your single crochets that you're about to do. Okay, so we need to do a single crochet, we need to do a half double crochet, so let's do our half double. Okay, okay, and now it's saying to do 4 double crochets, so let's do 4. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now what we want to do is kind of bring it back into symmetrical to this side, so let's do a half double crochet in and a single crochet. So the very first time that we went in and started the color, that's what we considered the single crochet. And now what it's telling us to do is to jump. Okay, so we're just going to jump now to the next one. So we just want a single crochet in, okay, half double crochet just like we did. Okay, and we want to do 4 double crochets. Oh, that was a half. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And now what we want to do is half double crochet and single crochet. Okay, so let's jump to the next one. So single crochet. So now this is where I kind of finished off and I was looping it around. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we catch that, so that this particular petal, it goes all the way around all of that. So that was the single, so let's do a half double. And so we can trim the white then after. And now let's do 4 doubles. So in this pattern, this is the very last line of this pattern, but I'm going to push it even further, the creativity, and show you how to make a layered flower. And a layered flower is a very common technique in crochet to make things appear to be 3-dimensional and appear to use different colors to make it look even more amazing. So now let's just jump. So single, half double, and 4 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now half double and single. There's 2 more petals to go, everybody. So let's jump again to the next one. So single, half double, and 4 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now let's half double and single. And now let's jump to, we're going to come on to our final one. So single, half double, and 4 double crochets. So this is 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then half double and single. Oops, let's try that again. So we're going to single, and now what we need to do is slip stitch it. So you can't just fasten that off because you can see that everything's joining, so you just got to jump over to the next area and just slip it through. Okay, so this is the very end of this tutorial. If you wanted to follow exactly what you see on the page, but now I'm going to show you how to make the lip area. And the lip area, I would do the same color as the center to make this flower really totally amazing. So let's fasten off this color. Just pulling it through and just weaving it through just the back areas of this particular pattern. Okay, and now just let it fall. So at this point you can actually trim any loose strings if you want to, or you can wait to the end. It doesn't really matter. Back, and there's a white area, just pulling it tight before I cut it, and there you go. So that's the actual end of this tutorial, and let's move on to the next and push your creativity even further. So let's get your next color ready, and this is not as per the tutorial, but this is just an add-on to make your flower even more amazing. Maybe bring some tears to some eyes, because if people see this kind of thing, it's actually pretty amazing. So what I start in the back loop. So let's begin to describe that. So basically you always have kind of 2 stitches, right? So basically there's a 3rd stitch and it's in behind. Okay, so I compared to like a subway for us city folk. Well, I'm not a city folk, but there's usually a 3rd rail of a subway line, right? So you got 1, 2, and then turn it, and you can see the 3rd. So and actually, if you turn it, it actually looks like it's part of the stitching too, just the way it's coming together. So let's attach it to the 3rd rail or to the back area. It's not even called the back loop, right? Because of the fact that the back loop is not that. So I don't even know if I'm making any sense, but anyway, so let's continue through, and we're just going to attach it with a single crochet. Okay, so now just turn it towards you, and you'll see the back loops. And once you start seeing the back loops, you'll be able to pretty narrow it down. And again, you want to secure your loose end by just crocheting it into the first few. So just turning it. So you can still see you got your stitches on top, and it's the back loop and behind, keeping that straggler into position as you go all the way around. Now I'm going to let that straggler, it's in it long enough that I'm just going to not worry about it anymore, so just go into the next one. Okay, and we've got one more to go. So what I decided to do to push the creativity even further is that what I've done is now I've come down in between all of it, just like so, and grabbing the material and pull a lot of slack. So pull it, give it lots of slack, and then pull it shut. Okay, so that begins to be your like angle right there. So now let's just turn it again and do the first one, and we're just single crocheting on the back loops, or not even, that's not really the back loop. I forget the technical name of that, so I'm sure there will be a viewer to correct me on my terminology. Can always count on that. So here we go. So we're just going in the back section, or I would call it the 3rd rail. If I would change my terminology, it's the 3rd rail of crochet. Now slipping it down in, okay, pulling it up some slack, and the slack just makes it just grow up a little bit further. And now just again turn it and come into the back. So this is how layered flowers are actually accomplished in crochet, by using that back section there. Okay, so down in, grabbing it, pulling slack, secure it with a single crochet method, and then jump to the next. So you can see that your flower is going from amazing to ultra, you know, bring tears to the new mother because it's attached to a new baby's hat kind of idea. Like, it's just a really truly amazing effect when you start layering up your flowers. So you can actually do more layers if you wanted to. If you wanted to do even a layer behind the white, you could do that as well. So again, pulling it through and through, giving the slack, and again that one might need adjusting. Okay, and then single crochet that in, and again come in behind. So in the large version of this one is that I don't do the center just like you're seeing here, because it is a larger version. It has a different effect in the center. So therefore me going all the way around all 3 posts just like you're seeing right now is not possible, because it just doesn't make sense to do that. So again, just coming in, we're on the final stretch. So it does a horse race, we're on the final turn, coming around. Now I purposely started so that you're not coming down into the center first. So you got to make sure that when you're finishing that you are going to go and finish going down, creating that kind of like a spoke effect. And then what you want to do is just nail it right into that very first one to cause it to be consistent and look the same. So pulling it through and through. So now what we can just do is just fasten off. So we're just going to cut it over your hand using your fancy dancy scissors, pulling it through, and now just weave it in to the edging a few times. So just working your way. So stick it through, pull it through, throw it over. This is a weaving technique. I teach this on my channel as well. So once you get enough way, you can just safely trim it. You can trim any extras that you see in this particular pattern. So just turn it over and check it, and there you go. So there is, oh, just one more to go. The starting area. Almost snuck in there, so there you go. So there is your completed flower, and this is a small version of the flower appliques created by Patterns, and this is a free tutorial available online. I've shown you how to make the actual tutorial, plus we pushed it a little bit further in giving you a 3-dimensional effect by using a layering effect just like you see. And that's it for today, so I hope you have a great day.